everyone, welcome to The Zest, the official podcast for Orange Coast Magazine. I'm Chelsea Ranieri, and today's guest is a fashion designer and macrame artist who is a finalist on Project Runway. Her beautiful designs have been featured in magazines, including Vogue, Elle, and Harper's Bazaar. Thank you so much for being here today, Coral Castillo.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
Of course. I'm so excited to get to talk with you. I've been researching all of your different collections and your designs. I'm obsessed. They're so stunning.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Of course, the Harper's Bazaar spread was my favorite.
That's one of my favorites too.
Oh, so good with the beautiful headpiece that you have, and so nice. But to start, so you were born in Mexico City. When did you first become interested in fashion?
I think I always was interested in fashion because my mom is a dressmaker. So since very, very little, I always been exposed to her working and seeing how she cuts the fabrics and then sewing it together. And since I think I was 4 or 5 years that I started picking up all her scraps and just trying to make dresses for my dolls. When I was 6, she actually taught me how to hand stitch. So I was hand stitching.
At 6 years old?
Yes.
Wow, that's amazing. And what was the first piece that you remember making? I know you said dolls pieces, but what was the first piece you made for yourself?
For myself was when I was in middle school, and in that time, so I was born in Mexico City. Then we moved to Tijuana, and when I was in Tijuana in middle school, my mom didn't have that money, so I would used to make me a top, and I would wear it with all jeans. And I remember every time I would wear a top that I made, everyone complimented me about it.
Oh,
so
wow.
I started loving it.
I read that you started getting requests from friends and neighbors and stuff like that, and you had your own clientele at such a young age. What was that? What were your design process at that time like?
Yeah, it was different because I didn't really have the technicality of how to make a garment, and now I know what is the proper way to do it with the right finishing and everything. So at that beginning, it was mostly stretch fabrics, which is easier to fit in your body. So it was easier. It's different than now. I make more constructed pieces, and I use silk chiffon, which is very difficult to cut and sew. So it's completely different from what I was doing when I was a teenager or younger.
Yeah. That's so crazy though. You had no formal training and people just loved your designs and wanted you to just make pieces especially for them. That's so nice.
Yes, yeah.
So you received your bachelor's degree at the Art Institute of California in Orange County. And I read that in an article you were saying, you feel education is extremely important in general, but especially for designers. So what did you take away from your education in design?
Yes, as I said before, I learned what my mom learned, but she also was self-taught. She didn't know the proper things, and she can copy. She will be mostly copy. A client will bring her a magazine and will tell her, "I want this dress with this bottom and this top," and my mom will make it. She didn't know how to make patterns, anything. So I kind of learned from her to copy, and then doing my own style. And then when you go and do the proper training, they teach you how to use inspiration, how to make your patterns, how to work with the different fabrics, how understanding fabrics, exactly what you need, the fabric that you need to make a suit, and to fabric to make a swimming suit, which is completely different. So it's good understanding of all the materials that you have. So it really opens your mind of all the things you can do. Also, they teach you different techniques of stitching, embroideries. It really, really gives you so much, so you can be creative and put it together or not use it and use it when you like, or I don't know. It's different. It really opened my mind going to school, because you learn all of this. I think when, even though it wasn't that long when I graduated in 2011,
Mhm.
even though it's not that long, we didn't have the technology that we have now with AI and all these things. And YouTube is now, you can find tutorials for everything. So I think that right now people have more accessibility to any kind of method that they want to study. But obviously, sometimes you don't know, so you need the education from school to tell you at least the word that you need to Google so you can learn it.
Right, exactly. I've seen pattern making on TikTok, and it's one of my favorite things to watch because I just don't. It seems like so much. It is math and so technical, but I just can't wrap my mind around how you would come up with a pattern. So
Yeah, yeah,
seems really.
and patterns are so great, because if you don't want, like, I have a whole bookcase full of patterns.
Wow.
So, and then they're all mine. Like, I made all of them. And it's cool, because if I want something done, but I don't have time to do it, I can give it to a seamstress. It's like, oh, I want this pattern made in this fabric, and they can do it for you. And you don't have to do it yourself. When it's a new design, obviously you have to create your pattern. But the cool thing is that other people can work from that, and it's going to have the exact measurements that you want, and everything. It will be the change of fabric or colors or whatever it is what you want to do new.
Wow, I didn't realize that. That's so smart. It's a
Yeah.
nice tool to have. So you won first place in a design competition for OC Fashion Week in 2011, and then just 2 years later, you were noted as one of the best designers in Orange County, which is insane. So take me back to that moment. How did you find that out? How did it feel?
I was very surprised. I really wasn't expecting that. And I when I won the first show, I was very excited. I also was not expecting, as it's like, especially for someone like me that English is my second language. You can kind of hear my accent and all these things, and I don't know. I feel like we, as people who come from another country, to here is more difficult, because you cannot compete with the people who first language is English, especially when you go to school, and they already have they're ahead of you because of that, and you have to think different. So I always was like putting a lot of work and trying to work more than everyone else, and trying to one teacher I remember speech told me, he told me, you will never gonna be able to get rid of the accent from her. And it was like, okay, so I have to live with it. I have to just try to hide it with my work, that I have this accent. And also in my writing, sometimes I make grammarly change words, or the structure is not perfect because I'm thinking Spanish. But I just, it's like, okay, I have to try to do the best I can, and try to fix it. But I still can, I can fix it. I can still have some things that it's not so great in my grammar, but I think my work and what I love to do compensates for all of that.
No, I think your accent's gorgeous. I like Yeah, no, I think that's beautiful. I'm so sorry that you had a teacher that said that. That's so awful. That's also not the first time I've heard people talk about teachers who discourage them.
Yeah.
It's just so odd that you would have. I don't know why people would go into that line of work when then they actively discourage students from things. It makes no sense.
Yeah, and I kind of understand that they want to be realistic, but it's not helpful.
No, it's not helpful at all. And obviously it didn't matter in any way.
No.
Yeah, right. So in 2018, you were on episode 5 of Stitched on Hulu and you won. For listeners who don't know, what is that show about?
So it's a competition. It's almost like Project Runway, but it's everything in one episode, and they have 4 designers, and the challenges are super quick, and it's all in one episode. So every episode they have 4 different designers, and every episode they have a winner that gets $10,000. So
Oh,
for my episode with other four designers. They were amazing, and I love them. They were like my family. I'm still friends with all of them, and I was the winner. I got $10,000 from that.
That's amazing. What was the challenge that you had to do?
So it was 4 challenges. The first one was your signature look, and it was made out of camel fabric. So they have to choose like a theme. So it was making a camel with your signature look. And it was it's like I have never used camel. At that time, I was doing mostly black and gold colors, maybe a little bit of white. And it's like, oh my gosh, I have to do a print. I don't do prints, and I have to do a camel. But I made an evening gown made of a camel fabric in 4 hours. So it was
wow.
Yes. I didn't want that challenge, but I was on the top. Mm-hmm. And then the next challenge was oh my goodness, let me see if I can remember which one was oh my goodness, I don't remember what was the next one.
What was like one of your favorite challenges?
The favorite from there was the unconventional materials. So I think it was the conventional materials. I'm not. It was in 2019 when I did this.
Yeah.
I haven't watched it, or no. It's in Hulu, right? I don't watch it. So in the conventional challenge, they had all these packaging materials where you can work, and also it was for that one they give us, I think, 10 hours. It was a little bit more than 4. 4 hours was crazy, and then for that one, I decided to make this corset made of fabric that you use to cover in from the dust your packaging or whatever you're going to move. And then from the skirt, I used the black bubble for wrapping. And I was so obsessed with that skirt. It was huge with big, thick ruffles. And then I remember when the model was walking, everything bounced. So it was so impressive. That's one of my favorite looks from that.
Yeah, I imagine that would be really hard to work with bubble wrap.
It was because there was no way you can sew. Everything you sew, as soon as you put the needle, is make a hole, and that hole is gonna break. So it was using duct tape to do all of that. So it was crazy. I have never done a garment like that before.
How long were you filming for? Like how many days?
We stayed there for, I think it was about 5 days, if I'm not mistaken.
Wow, that's a lot of work in 5 days.
Yes, it was. It was like, yeah, we were working long hours, and then when you're filming, they don't let you know the time, so you really don't have a sense of how much time has passed. Yeah, it was my first experience working on television. It was like, wow.
Yeah, and then speaking of you being on television, in 2021, you were on Project Runway season 19. I can't imagine how incredible of an experience this must have been. How did you get on?
So I always love Project Runway since, I don't know, since I started watching. I think it was on season 2, and then I will stop, and then I watch it again, and years on and on. And then I started applying, and I think applied for 5 different seasons, different times. And they always no response. Sometimes I will get to the end, but then they didn't call me. And then this last time they invited me to apply again, and then I apply, and then finally they say yes, but they have to wait because of the pandemic. And so it was a whole year of waiting without knowing if I was on the show or not. I did all the interviews, everything wasn't sound, but it was like a whole year of interviews by Zoom and not knowing if you were gonna be in the show. And then finally was, I think, 2 weeks before starting filming that they say, yes, you are in the show.
2 weeks before filming?
Yes. I think it was like a crazy deadline like that I have to tell my work. I was working as a cut artist. I was the lead cut artist for this company here in LA. and
Huh.
and I didn't give him permission to miss work for 2 months. So I told him, okay, then I quit. So yeah, I always wanted, and the good thing is because it was during the pandemic, I was working doing cuts and everything went online. So I was doing a lot of overtime. I never worked as much as I did on the pandemic. So all my overtime I had it saved, and because you couldn't go out and really do anything, so it was all saving, 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 and that gave me okay. I can quit my job and be okay for those months without working because I have all this money saved from during the pandemic.
What are CADs? I don't.
Cats is fashion illustrations.
Oh, okay. Oh, so you were just illustrate. Wow, that's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah, I really love that job because it was just drawing all day and the time went so quick. I was also stressed because in that time I always had like my job and then my line of clothing also selling for my clientele. And I was kind of sad because I was not selling to my line because it was all even in gowns and no one was going out or had any
Oh,
events.
sweet.
But at the same time, it's like, okay, at least I have this job and I'm all day in the computer and the days went fast. So
Yeah.
it worked out.
So, what are some of your favorite memories from Project Runway?
I think working with Coco Rocha.
Oh, okay. How come?
Yes, yes. I always been a fan of Coco Rocha. If you know about something about her, she's been in all the covers of all the fashion magazines you can imagine, all the best ones. She has worked with all the main designers in Europe and here in the US. So she is like a huge, she's a supermodel.
Yeah.
And having the opportunity to work with her and then meeting her, and she's such a sweetheart. Like you
Oh,
imagine this, a person like her with her status would be like a kind of a diva or
yeah.
look you down. She was the sweetest. I
Oh,
really love and enjoy working with her.
what are some of the lessons that you learned from the show?
Not to be afraid to work with color.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, since my change was from Project Runway to now by myself, I've been using more color, and actually, like the the one from Bazaar that I did red. Usually, I didn't do so much red, but then that particular dress that is part of that collection, I made more garments of red, and the red ones are like the most successful. Or there's a blue cobalt dress also is like they're the most successful. And I understand the color is so bright, and so anyone who tries them on is like you instantly become the point of attention because the color is so bright. On top of that, you put the texture and the fringe, like it's really showstoppers.
Yeah. What was your favorite challenge?
Uh, I think that one too, the one with Coco Rocha. it,
Oh,
it was a dream come true. I think my garment was really strong. I love all the photos that they took because it was like an editorial challenge. So
oh,
instead of having the model coming at the end in the runway, you have to show the photo of the editorial that we did with Coco. So yeah, it was my favorite.
that sounds so cool. I'm immediately thinking of America's Next Top Model when they would do the show the photos and stuff.
Yes, 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 yes. It was kind of like that. Yes.
That's awesome. So as I mentioned before, you have designs in very prominent magazines, including Vogue. What advice do you have for aspiring designers who would love to have their designs featured in a magazine like that?
Um, the way Vogue contacted me is because I put my designs and I have them on my website. I try to put them everywhere online that I can.
Mm,
Sometimes when you're in college, you think, oh, I'm scared because I'm no one and someone can steal my design. I better just keep it as a secret that no one sees it so no one can steal it. But at the same time, I thought I made this work. I want people to see it. I didn't make it to have it hidden. I don't know if young people think like that, but I remember a lot of my peers, my peer the people who were in college with me, with my colleagues, they will think, oh no, I don't want to post it because I don't want my design to be stolen. And I was like, but if I don't see it, if I don't show it, who is going to know what I'm doing and how I'm going to sell or even have customers? So I started putting it everywhere I can. And through my website, Vogue sent me an email. Oh, we love your clothes. We want to feature it for this campaign. And I was like, oh, yes, of course. You're not going to say no to Vogue.
Right.
So it's that, like, really try to put it everywhere. And I think now people is more aware if someone is stealing. I actually, from some of my design, I've been copy. Some people had copied me from Russia, and
What?
people copy me from Ghana. And it's like, I don't think as a designer we have a protection of our designs not to be copied. So there's, I don't know if there's anything to do. Maybe someone knows and let me know. I don't know. Yeah, my designs have been copied. I sometimes feel like it's flattering. Oh my gosh, they think it's so good, and they're trying to copy. Obviously, it's not the same. I see it's not. So that's why I don't make. If it was, I was like, oh my god, they're making a person. But no, I feel flattered that they want to copy, and that because usually if you want to copy, you want to copy the best.
Yeah, right. That's true.
Yeah, so it's nice.
Yeah. Well, it's a good way to look at it rather than being angry.
Yeah.
So I'd love to talk a bit about your designs. So where do you draw inspiration from?
Since I did Project Runway, all my inspiration comes from Mexico.
Oh, wow.
Yes, before the pandemic and in the Thanksgiving before the pandemic, I went to see my dad because my son wanted to meet his grandfather. And then going to Mexico and seeing how beautiful everything is, how kind and nice the people is, it makes me, I forgot about all of this because I moved in 2001 to the US. And then finally coming back, I forgot of all of this. You forget because you get stuck in the American culture. But it's so beautiful that I was like, I fall in love with Mexico, and it's like, I have to bring it. And then when I did the collection after the pandemic in Project Runway, my final collection, I did it about Mexico. And Mexico is so, so rich. There are so many cultures and subcultures and things from the past that you can grab inspiration from, that every single collection has to do with Mexico since I did Project Runway.
Wow. Was that the collection where you added embroidery that was inspired from Mexico?
Yes. The collection for Project Runway, I call it Genesis. And yes, I've been using embroidery from Oaxaca, which is very floral and very colorful. And also another one called Otomi that is made by indigenous people also in Mexico.
That's amazing. And when did you first start incorporating macrame? How did you come to do that?
Also, everything was during the pandemic. It was like a huge change. So, and during the pandemic, because I couldn't sell my dresses, I was getting stressed and I didn't know what to do. So I just was spending so much time at home, and it's like, oh, I need to make my house look more nice because I'm here and I like plants and everything looks more fresh when you have plants. And then I started seeing decorations like the macrame hangers, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna do everything boho decor. And I started googling boho decor, and then I saw this beautiful curtain, and it was like $2,000. I don't know. It's like I cannot pay that for a curtain. It's like I wonder how difficult it is to make. So I YouTube it, and then I learn.
And a curtain, that's insane.
I haven't but yes, it's a big curtain, and that was the first project I had, and it was easy. And the reason I think it was easy is because I love crocheting too. I do crochet, it's knitting too. So I feel good about working with my hands. I can learn things quickly, anything that has to do with my hands. So right away I was like, oh my gosh, this is so easier. And if you do crochet and then macrame, you use a thicker cord. So the work progress is faster. So you go doing and you see things faster than with crochet. So it's like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. I have to incorporate it into clothing. And then from there, I did Project Runway. And every challenge, I was putting some of macrame in the designs. And then after that is like, oh, I can do more things. Because on Project Runway, you cannot do a whole dress of macrame because you need more time. It's more process. And fabric is already made, so it's easy to cut and sew it. It's faster. So just some details of macrame. But once I got over and I had more time to do the final collection, I did it some pieces that had way more macrame.
Yeah.
And then after that, it's like, okay, now I can do a whole dress of macrame or a whole collection made of macrame.
Oh, it's like, I'm like looking at the designs and I can't fathom how you are able to make these pieces. It's so intricate. How long does it take for you to make something with macrame?
Depending on the piece, some pieces can take me a whole month. Some pieces 3 weeks, some pieces 2 weeks, depending on how much macrame they have.
Do you have people helping you make it, or is it all you?
Everything is to me.
Wow, that's incredible. I am obsessed. The like tops that you have, the little bralette tops that are macrame, and then the dresses and everything's just absolutely stunning. So what's your creative process like now?
Right now, it's still the same. I draw the inspiration from Mexico. The last collection I did it's inspired on a Maya legend, and you know they have the Aztecs, and the Aztecs believe in different gods and goddesses, and I like this theme of being an Aztec and being a warrior and being a goddess. So I kind of run with this theme. And in the legend, it's also a woman there were two women, and one of them but two of them were same beautiful woman, but one of them liked to have was kind and generous with the time. She will help people, but also she had like a lot of boyfriends, and that was judged by society. And then the other one was like very prude, very nice. She dressed up all the way here up, don't show anything, but she was cold and not kind. And then when the first one, the good one, the nice one, but also she had that thing that she liked to go with, had a lot of boyfriends. She died. It brought flowers from her tomb. And then the other one, she was envious of that one because she had so much attention. So before she died, she made a pact with another goddess and tell her that she wanted to be like her. But she wanted to live forever and be like her. So the trick was that she did that, she would have to kill all the men that give her attention. So now, and still people in that region in Yucatan believe in this, that if they go to the forest, they will find her and she will lure men into their demise. So she will kill them, and she has to do that for eternity.
Wow, that's so how do you pull inspiration?
Yeah, and I thought, oh my gosh, this story, it's so cool. I love it so much. So it's like, I'm going to do the collection. At the beginning, it's going to be everything gold. So it's the seduction. And then I'm going to have in the middle the kind of tones of red, which is the killings. And then at the end, I'm going to have black because she goes into this dark place. And then she goes back to the seduction again. And she's in this circle for eternity.
I am obsessed with that. Now I want to go back and look at the collection and see it all. That's so cool.
Yeah.
I love that you created like an entire line off of a story like that. That's amazing. And sustainability is really important to you as well. Do you mind talking about some of the eco-friendly materials you use?
Yes, I try to work with materials that I buy in the fashion district and they're dead stock. So I will never go to China to send out to create something new. because if you use what is already in the market, here I'm so lucky that I live very close from the fashion district. I can go and see all the fabrics they have available, the rolls that they have available, and only use that. And when I do use silks or any kind of fabric that is luxurious, I use everything. You don't see now any waste made. If it's waste, I make it into macrame because. And the last collection, if you see some horns coming out from the dress,
Yes,
there's
I saw.
it's all the horns are made from the leftovers of the fabric. So
Wow.
zero waste on my designs, and I'm very proud that I figured out a way to use every single scrap. So I cut the skirts, and when you cut these circular skirts, you waste a lot of fabric. Instead of not using it, I'm now making different, and I use, it's also made of macrame with the silk and using all the scraps. So I try to do zero waste. So if you see my garbage can, you're gonna see like bare minimal of maybe just some threads and that's it. But fabrics, I try to use everything. Cord, the same. I use the cord and I try to make it that every single little piece is used, and I'm being smart to know how much I can cut and not cut, so I cannot cut so much when I'm finished the garment.
And I read you use like a type of cactus.
Yes, I
Material for
use.
that?
Yes, thank you. I
Wow.
forgot. If you see garments of leather, I have only very few that are made of real leather. And then if you see a burgundy garment, probably all the burgundy leather that I have used, it's made of cactus nopal. And also this company is called Deserto, and they use their standards of sustainability of everything they use is very high. They have videos and how they create everything and they don't waste anything.
Oh
So
my God.
yeah,
That's
yeah, I'm trying.
incredible.
Yeah, I also don't create mass production. I don't want to do mass production. So if you like one of my garments, if the sample fits you, I can sell you that. And if I make only one, it will be for your measurements. And also, I make any measurements. It doesn't matter your body type. And maybe I will have suggestions on a little bit tweaks. So if it complements and it flatters more your body. But only one but per person. I don't want to have a lot of things in stock and then not to sell them. And then that's the problem right now. I was reading an article that in Chile, there is a lot of waste and there is garments with new tags.
Oh my
And
God.
like from Rose, should I say that? Max, Marshalls, and they have the tags right there. New clothing that they couldn't sell, they just go and dump them there. It's so big that now you can see it from the satellite.
Oh my God.
It's,
That's
it's
awful.
it's so horrible, and yeah, the parts of Africa too. There is a lot of waste of fabric, and it's no. I'm not producing. If you want you want one piece, you buy one. If yeah, I'm not.
I'd
Yeah.
love to do that though. That's such a like it seems like a simple solution. I don't know why other companies don't do what you're doing. Like, I don't know. I love that you're doing that.
Yeah, and yeah, no, yeah, it's I think it's more expensive when you try to figure out ways of using everything. It's easier just to drop it, and because they use very cheap materials, it's like it doesn't matter. It just cost me like cents the yard, so I just threw it away. But
Right.
it's mm-mm.
Yeah, that's terrible. Well, I read that you create designs that balance both strength and softness. How do you achieve that?
I think macrame makes you strong. Like it's like a armor that you wear, and then I combine it with silk chiffon. With silk chiffon, it's airy, it's soft, it's light, it's flowy. So all these things are together with femininity. So by mixing those two, you have the strength, but also is the softness, the flow, and all these beautiful things, but strong things.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. And then lastly, so last year you collaborated with Cheetos. This is such a fun collaboration. What was that like?
It was really fun. I never worked with orange or like these bright green colors. Red, of course, I love red. But yeah, it was really fun to see, especially with because it's the first time I do shoes. So I really, really love the idea of making shoes and seeing all the process and how I was make. I make the first prototypes here at home. Just constructed some shoes to see how they were made, and then from there it's like, okay, this is how we can make it and put it possible. And then I told the factories. It was a really, really fun process.
Yeah. Okay. The shoes, they're macrame, right?
Yes.
How did you do that? That's wild.
Yes, yeah, it says I imagine different ways of how you can. I made the first sample, the first prototype, and then I did like a pattern of all the knots, how they would have to be laid out, and I gave them sending a video how I was making it so they can imitate what I did. Because if you Google macrame shoes, there's very few. So there's not a lot of people doing sneakers that are made of macrame. There were some Valentino, I think, but I don't know. There's not many. So it was challenging, but it also was fun. And also, yeah, I was like, yeah, I don't know. It was so great.
How long did it take to make one shoe?
It was one shoe is one day, so 2 days for the hair.
Oh, wow. I would think that would take so much longer. Like just figuring out how to do the heel and like the tongue and everything.
So I didn't make the heels. The heels you make them to some. I designed it all because I'm very good at. I should not say very good, but I'm fast at using Photoshop and Illustrator. So I make a drawing and how the sole can be made. And then I put the macrame too. So when they did the sole, they send it to me, and then I see how. At the first, it was going to be with holes, but then we agreed that it was better for production to do it with glue. But I did the macrame only. And then I told them also to put the ties to use the rings, which I have never seen shoes that have these gold rings for the eyelets instead. So it was really fun. It was a fun project and very unique.
Yeah, they looked so fun. They were such a I love that it was like the orange for the Cheetos, red for hot Cheetos, and then green for jalapeno.
Yes.
Right? How fun.
Yeah.
So are there any other collaborations or collections that you have coming out that listeners should look out for?
Not at the moment. No.
Well, we'll keep an eye on your Instagram. And also I loved on your Instagram, Amanza and Mary from Sun Sunset. Were they in your runway show, or did they just wear your designs, or?
They wouldn't be in my show. They actually walk for me. So you should go to my shows because you're gonna see in the runway wearing my clothes. That time I was lucky, and it was because they had their I don't know. It's from Selling Sunset. At the end, it's like a tell-all. I don't remember.
Yeah, the reunion.
That's what I was looking at. The reunion. They had the reunion. So for the reunion, they wore my garments.
What?
Yes.
I have to go back and rewatch that.
Yes. Amanza's wearing this purple macrame dress. And then Mary's wearing this black dress that he has also made with crochet. And then it has like metal part made of in the top. And it's like a crisscross. Yes, and fringe, yeah, but yeah. So they were in the reunion, and when she asked me for that reunion, it was so last minute. So and then she told me, oh, maybe we can, because I told her I'm so busy working for because I'm gonna present on LA Fashion Week. It's like, oh, if you want to, we can go for you. It's like, you kidding me? Yes, of course. Come.
How did you get connected with them? Like, how did you guys meet?
Through my Instagram. Amanza started following me and liking my designs, and then she sent me a message. I was surprised. I was like, maybe it's not Amanza, maybe it's someone else. Who is this? And then no, it was real. It was her.
Wow, that's so cool. I love her so much. She is like one of my favorite styles in the show. So that's so awesome.
Yeah, she's so nice. I love her.
Oh, that makes me really happy. So we're coming to the end of our time, but before I let you go, I have three final questions that we call our thoughtful three. So, what was the best advice that you first received when you were starting out?
I think don't take things personal. I'm very emotional, and yeah, I cry with little things. So I think it came from that. That don't take things personal. And someone criticizes, I know you feel like it's very personal because it's your work and comes from you, and then someone is telling you things are not so great. It feels bad. So try to separate yourself from that. And I think it's hard. I still I'm better at it, but it's hard to separate yourself from your work. If someone criticizes your work, you feel like they're criticizing you. Take it more as a way to improve. Take it as I'm telling you this. Okay, this is how you see it. Maybe I can make it this way. And sometimes the advices they give you, they're good, but I have found out that sometimes their advices really don't that much. But you have to decide which ones to take and which ones not, and don't take it personal.
Definitely. What would you tell someone whose dreams might feel out of reach for them right now?
I will say nothing is out of reach. Everything is going to be very difficult, and you have to work for it. You constantly have to work for it. And sometimes like many times I thought on giving up a project Runway. Many times I was like, oh no, I'm not doing one more time. I'm not gonna do it. And then sometimes you think, oh, I'm doing so much. There's so many designs, and I'm working so hard, and I don't see any results. And then, but as for me, it's what keeps me going. I cannot be without designing or making. It's what relaxes me. If I have a problem, I will start making a dress, and it makes me feel better. I don't know if I have. I don't know if I with my sister and something happened, and then it's like, oh, okay, I'll go and make the dress. I calm down, I feel better, and then I talk to her, and then everything's fine again. Or anything, or your friends, your coworkers. Like that's what makes me calm down and think about it and make things better. So I'll say don't stop, don't give up, give as much as you can, and learn. If they tell you, oh no, it's not good enough, then ask or figure out what can you do to make it better, what can you do to make it best, what can you do to make that dream that you have possible. So it's all on you. All the walls and the obstacles, the main one is yourself. If you don't think that you can do it, you're not going to do it. So you have to believe that you're going to do it, and work on yourself and work on your craft and work and what can make it better, and you will reach your dream. And obviously it's not from about one day to another. You really have to wait, because that was for me. Wait, it's you at the beginning you think, oh, I'm not getting anything from doing this. But eventually, if it's like me, I always dreamed to be in Project Runway, and I did it. I always dream of having my first collection show at a New York Fashion Week, and I did. Well, first it was LA, then it was New York Fashion Week. Okay, now this next, and I'm working on things that are next. But don't give up. It's like you always have something to reach out, and it's all on you.
I love that. And then lastly, what do you do to overcome times when you're not feeling particularly inspired?
Um, I travel. I like to travel. Or if I don't have money to travel, I would go to museums. I'm so lucky that I live very close from the Broad Museum, from Mocha to the, yeah. So I go to museum, and museum, seeing the work of other artists, it really inspires me.
Oh, that's so smart. Well, thank you so much for doing this. I learned so much from you, and I had so much fun getting to talk with you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Of course.